Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show. The show is about transforming lives one story at a time, and I'm so excited to invite people from all walks of life to share their heart stories, stories of transformation. And we have yet another person who is a mover and shaker in the community. She is a community outreach coordinator at FEAT, that's F-E-A-T, for Children of Incarcerated Parents. Please welcome Chantelle Hospedales to the show. How are you doing today, Chantelle?
Good, thank you. And how are you?
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. So let's get to it. Tell us, Chantelle, about your background leading up to doing what you are today.
Okay, so I did my undergrad at the University of Toronto, and I was studying Criminology and Equity Studies. So that's where I think that my passion or my interest in the criminal justice system, particularly in Canada and the United States, was solidified. However, going back further than that, I think that I was introduced from a young age to activists, predominantly in the U.S., like Martin Luther King Jr. and the Black Panthers, Angela Davis, et cetera, and so forth, and a lot of their efforts were concentrated on the criminal justice system. So I kind of grew up looking at that activism, their work, and I just pursued that desire, that interest in university. And then I realized upon coming close to graduating that the next step for me logically would be to pursue a career in like the legal realm. So I currently attend Osgoode Hall Law, and that school is known particularly for their social justice programs and activism. So it just seemed like a natural choice for me. And so that's kind of a background.
Okay, excellent. So what you are doing it's really admirable. I tip my hat to what you're doing to, support a community of families who really need so many, systems at play to just to help them. So tell me how you got involved with FEAT and a little bit about your role and who are the clients that you have. Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah, so basically what I was looking for, I just finished my first year at Osgoode, and I was looking for something in the public interest sector, something that kind of called to me particularly. And and so FEAT, they're actually in the amidst a name transition, so they're actually going to be going by KIP moving forward, which is Kids of Incarcerated Parents. However, I found them online through just like heavy research really into different organizations in Toronto, and I thought it was a very unique organization, particularly because they work with youth who have parents who are currently incarcerated or recently released, and also youth between 12 to 17 who have been in contact with the criminal justice system themselves. So, so I thought that was a very niche kind of area that you don't hear a lot about in like mainstream kind of criminal justice reform talks or abolition talks, etc. So, so I reached out to the director, Derek Reed, and I just kind of created this vision for the summer about creating legal programming for youth. And the youth that they work with predominantly are between 12 to 17 and racialized. A vast majority of them are from the Black community across Toronto. So, and so that was also something that called to me because, of course, in Canada and the U.S., there are disproportionate, overrepresentation of Black people that are incarcerated or have come in contact with the criminal justice system. So as a Black female myself, that was something that called to me. And so basically this summer what we'll be working on collaboratively, I've been reaching out to different organizations as well across Toronto. I'll be forming legal programming that's like holistic. So, for example, I'm going to do an employment rights one that will also touch upon, I'll have a career panel with different people, like speaking about their career, their life trajectories. I have a financial literacy component to it. So it's very holistic programming. And, that's basically what FEAT does. And they offer like a range of programs, though. They have one program that I do want to draw attention to is their weekly visitation program. So that program is actually, they don't receive any bursaries or anything. It's based on donations only and sponsorship, private sponsorship. So what they do is every week, obviously not right now during COVID, but when the ban lifts, every week they do bring up youth and their parents, their loved ones, to visit incarcerated loved ones all across Ontario, all the prisons. So that's a great program that I really think that is important that they do. And they do mentorship programs, after-school programs, and so they really try to work towards addressing the negative impact that parental or familial incarceration can have on youth, particularly racialized youth that are, so that would be in sum. Sorry, that was a long answer, but that would be what FEED is all about, KIP.
Okay, excellent. And how has your life been transformed by pursuing this passion work?
So I would say there's ups and downs to it. So I had a friend ask me recently, with all the recent events with the George Floyd tragedy in the United States and whatnot. I've had a few friends reach out to me and ask me how I'm doing and if I'm holding up in light of everything that's occurring and the vicarious trauma that obviously, especially Black people, we will feel. So I would say that the con kind of thing for me, particularly focusing all my energy, my studies and everything on this kind of work dealing with the criminal justice system, is you have to be very wary that you don't become desensitized. Hearing story after story that can be very heartbreaking. And sometimes I feel like it's tempting to turn off that human emotion where you empathize and you really feel this pain. So that is one of the cons for me that I have to be very wary about, especially knowing that this is the beginning of my career and moving forward, this is something I'm going to dedicate myself to. So just practicing self-care and whatnot in that sense to make sure that I'm okay and I'm in the right headspace to help others and create platforms and spaces for others to heal and to have their stories heard. And the positive, of course, would be meeting fantastic people in general. And I think especially when it comes to community organizing, I'm a really big advocate of the solutions and the questions, the solutions, the answers coming from the ground up. So coming from the communities that are actually affected, for example, by street checks and over-policing, et cetera, and so forth, by the criminal justice system. So that is definitely something that has developed my worldview and my perspective moving forward. Is just every individual that I meet, regardless if it's in a fellow coworker, a student that I'm working with, a youth, et cetera, and so forth, that is something, everyone has something to offer. Everyone's story shapes me eventually, and ultimately everyone's story shapes my work.
Absolutely. I thank you for, sharing your kind of reaction to what happened last week or May 25th. It feels like yesterday because it's, like you said, people are reliving the images. It's been a very traumatic experience for many of us who don't know how to kind of how to process this in a way that's it isn't very detrimental to their mental health. So it means that we need to keep these conversations happening, and people who are not talking, those are the ones you really want to hear from where mental health is concerned, right? Get them talking and help them with the healing. So I thank you for everything that you're doing to support families. And I'd like to ask you one question before we conclude. What happened, the murder in Minneapolis was let's call it what it is. It was murder, and compounded with everything that's happening with COVID-19. It's a lot for people to take, and they have a lot of challenges, joblessness, you name it. What message of hope could you offer to us right now, those of us listening?
So I think that something that stands out to me when you asked that question was there's a book actually written by, I believe it's Robin Maynard, and it's called Policing Black Life. And something that she wrote that really stands out to me was when she was speaking about resistance and whatnot, and she was saying that we need to remember that when we speak of a traumatic history, when it comes to Black history and whatnot, that it's not just trauma. That's not where the story ends. It's not where the story starts, and it's not where the story ends. And so we need to remember the strength and the resilience of the Black creative imagination, of Black people, of the Black community, and we just need to continue forth. We've always, forged a way forth, and we're stronger together, and I think that would be my message, is that we are stronger together, and there's no way but forward. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, Chantelle, where can people go to find you on social media if they want to know more about your organization, or maybe if there are any volunteer opportunities with your organization?
So for FEET/KIP, moving forward, they definitely are always looking for new volunteers and help and whatnot. So if you could find them online at FEET, just type in FEET, Children of Incarcerated Parents, and you'll find them there, and you can reach out to them directly. And as for myself, I think the best bet would be LinkedIn or Instagram, and it would just be my first and last name. So should I spell my first and last name for everyone? Or?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so Chantelle, Chantelle, and last name is Hospedales.
Okay, excellent. Chantelle, thank you so much. I really appreciate you telling us a little bit about what you've done in the past, and what fuels your passion today. So continue what you're doing to make a positive impact in the world. Stay safe, stay strong, and stay positive. You've been listening to the Nikki Clarke Show with our very special guest, Chantelle Hospedales. Thank you very much, Chantelle.
Thank you.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.